is, in my investigation, we had one of the UFOs that we talk about from another, we'll say, reverse engineering. We had one that imploded in Roswell and that busted up in pieces. And I happen to have firsthand knowledge that was taught to me about implosion. So that's why I know about the word. So, we're all firsthand. I was an investigator, so I get to learn things because of firsthand experience. So, this would be of interest to some people about UFOs. So a lot of them don't know about the Roswell ships. They weren't alive. So were you alive in 1947? Can you tell me? Were you alive?
I was.
I think so.
You were alive in 1937.
I was born in 35.
35. There you go. Hey, by the way,
so you were 12 years old.
TJ, this is important, I think, for everybody to know. My cousin, Captain Donald Garrett, when he left the Air Force, he went on and became a Baptist minister and religion, and has been very, very devout in his faith all these years. So if there are other people out there that have the feeling of that but want to talk with someone who has both the experience in the space program and for what's real, and as well as the faith in their religion, Cousin Don is the one to talk with.
Wonderful. We have a Sunday show.
Israel. Then in Israel, I gave a paper at the Technion, but I don't mean to distract you from the astronauts.
Okay, well, Sunday now, Ken, if you're serious about having one for a spiritual show, I can do it on Sundays. I used to do one every Sunday, so y'all think about it. And I have it for Universal Life Ministers. People, it's like a non-denominational show, but we can discuss, like he said, not to get off topic of the Allied Command. But let's think about that because we're just starting, me and Ken tonight, Don. So maybe God had it planned for you to be here to be our chaplain in our group.
Yeah,
you could be a chaplain and help.
I'd be glad to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we could certainly get into the scriptures and get into the connection between just exactly what is it really saying based upon what we know now with regards to the existence of not just humans on the earth, but perhaps intelligent sentient beings in other parts of the universe. We can get into that in another date, another time. But I think I've never talked about that much with my cousin Don because we've never had that much time. So.
All right. Well, this Sunday I can't because of my daughter's birthday. But in the future, Don, all we have to do is get with, this is the first organization meeting since 2017 where Ken and I were sort of the officiators, and he and I took notes of the people that wanted to be involved with he and I, called the ACO. So we named it ACO. And Patricia Bullock wanted to be with us, and she's one of my admins on our Facebook page called UFO Secret Space. And it's mostly all free people because in social media it's just all free stuff. But we want real writers, or real journalists, or real investigators, and then real videographers to help us in the real world, in my business of documenting and archiving and writing it up. So hopefully if you can't write up stuff, we'll get somebody to help you. And I sort of specialize in that too. But you had mentioned,
what
James.
ACO stands for. Tell Don what ACO stands for.
Many things. I've got here where I'm at in Florida, ACO is a club, but my club is just of people I personally choose to know. Then under that, I have some ACO Club has American Communications Online, which is a bona fide company that I started, and I also have Teresa J. Morse Ministries, and that's for, I've got certificate or a business license for American Communications Online and Teresa J. Morse Ministries in Santa Rosa County in Gulf Breeze, Florida. If you ever flew out of Pensacola, that's where Ken went to school, and I went to Orlando, Florida, for the Navy. But ACO also stands for Alien Contact Organization, and Ascension Center organization. Anything I've ever run, as far as I can remember, I was inspired, Don, spiritually, and with a computer printout that came before computers had the internet. And so that's what's on the American Communication Online logo, is like a pyramid with all this energy coming out, vibrations, and I didn't even know what it was. And it came in Hawaii. So I believe in, I don't know that you'd call them miracles, but things that we don't understand in pictures and in light. I've been visited by orbs with infinity squared sign, fractal energy. It looks a lot like crop circles, but I don't know where it's coming from. But, you know, with a spiritual background, I'm going to say they're divinely inspired, or angels versus aliens. And so that's sort of how I got into this, was working with entities that I didn't understand, that I couldn't, I died in my lifetime. So it's sort of an interesting talk, because the Allied Command, I'm trying to find all the proper terminology to come up with for alienology and ufology, cosmology, epistemology, and I say that somebody said that we're a riddle inside a mystery inside an enigma. So we've got all kind of words we can share in the future. But tonight is Invisible College. It's all the knowledge you really can't see, but you know is there. So a lot of metaphysicians, esoteric, a lot of groups, secret groups, they say that it's the invisible college, and there's really no building you can usually go to, so we have to teach ourselves, don't we? So that's what that's about. And Ken, is that pretty detailed for you? It's an acronym for several websites.
I just discovered that.
Yeah.
Yep. That works fine. I appreciate it.
It's a ACO club, but the reason I'm really choosy is I run a lot of free social media pages out there and have for years, and I don't know who a lot of those people are, but they say they're my friends. And some of them are fake pictures and fake names, and I've got to go through it, and I've got thousands, but they want to be my friends or they're friends of friends. And you know how it takes a lot of time to vet people or investigate people. So I decided that I would start an association of friends years ago in Hawaii, and I had different Ascension Psychic Network, and we would help each other learn how to use our intuition. And I was part of Project Stargate, where we learned how to be non-local in our thought processing and all of that. So it's sort of all my interests all balled up in my history of ancient wisdom and New Thought teachings in cosmology. And Don, I wrote a book called Knowing Cosmology, and in it has all the different world religions and things like that. So we're bringing all this together the best way we can when we really don't. I mean, we know what we've read or somebody else has put in books, but the Invisible College is really about your own spiritual path and how you collect the information that you cannot see. It's invisible. So it's fun. It's fun. And I wanted to work with Ken because of I asked people to go search him out a long time ago. But the reason was I was looking for people that knew Grumman employees, like my husband and his dad worked for Grumman, and my husband, Steve Parrish, worked for NASA. And a lot was going on when we went to see a movie that I told Ken about. It was 2001 Space Odyssey. And I got to go, and so did Ken. I guess he was up towards the front. I was sort of middle in the back. But Don didn't live there, did he? Did he, Ken? Don, you didn't live in Houston, did you?
No, he was actually. His house was back to back with my house in the southern part of Houston. what in the world was that name of that little subdivision? Don, you remember the name of that subdivision we lived in? Beverly Hills. It was called Beverly Hills. And, we lived back to back, and I don't know whether Don was out that one night that we saw this bright light coming from the moon area and streaking down, and we called the local FAA and asked them, and they kind of said, "Oh well, yeah, it's nothing," So maybe we've seen a UFO in our past. So there's a lot of things to talk about.
Well, was that Beverly Hills in Houston, Texas?
Yep.
Was it
That's what it's called.
Beverly Hills? I wonder if it's still called that.
Subdivision. I don't
subdivision.
know. I don't know.
Things have changed since then.
Oh, it's a different world. I mean, the road, the population from downtown Houston goes all the way down to Galveston. And I was there for a conference about 4 years ago, and I went into shock in reality because I couldn't find NASA because trees had grown up and everywhere else. You couldn't even see the gate entrance to get into the place. They had torn down a bunch of the 3-story buildings that was for the contractors during the Apollo and Skylab and shuttle programs. And so I went down to Galveston with Brett Shepard. Actually, I think I had him with me. And we went down to, it was another person, Galveston, and to go out to the, put your toes in the ocean so you could say you've been in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, that's what he wanted to do. And it was scary to see, you talk about these movies and things where they've got people that get advanced to a more advanced existence, and then all of a sudden you're what was that whole movie series where they went to the future, Back to the Future? Yeah.
Back to the Future. Is that what you felt like you were doing?
Oh, it
going
was,
back
yes,
to the.
It was.
You felt like you were going back in time?
No.
What happened? Because it looked different?
Oh,
go ahead.
It was scary because you could see the buildings on NASA from the main road that goes in front back in those days, but all that stuff is hard to see from the main road going right through the little Clear Lake City, the little town called Clear Lake City.
Oh, wow.
If you haven't been back in time, you go back and you're going to go into shock too, because it's like going into a different world, and it is.
Yeah, it was real. There was no big trees. It was all just, like you see inside a gate. It was all flat. And then we had that seat that you'd go zoom in. Some of the guys, outside the building on the, depends on if you're on Nassau Bay National side, which is the front road. So that front gate. And then I'd come in the back gate a lot. I don't know. You remember there was one, but but the front gate. So you're saying that there's a whole bunch of trees all grown up. Well, I'll have to get on and look at it, right?
Yes,
from space.
You'll be shocked. You can't find
NASA Clear Lake. Well, we lived through it, so we know what we're talking about. And you lived in the Beverly Hills subdivision. I lived in one similar like that. So let's say Hilton, Houston, NASA Clear Lake. And there's NASA, and I'm looking at it. But, so that's going to be very interesting. But back in the day, there was a Nassau Bay National Bank, and then we had our sailboat down in League City. If you went straight on down NASA Parkway, do they still call it Clear Lake, you think? Yeah. I don't even know.
Clear Lake is Clear Lake is still there. It's still there.
Space Center Administration, though. You're saying that there's trees all grown up all around it now?
Oh, wow. Huge trees. Blocks the visibility from the roads anyway. So.
Wow. Well, having lived there, we can all say...
Yeah, we should have a conference there sometime. If we have a conference there sometime, we can all go back there and go into shock.
Well, we should. We should see who's running Houston. Maybe we can get with Mutual UFO Network. I don't know. We'll figure out and who would be interested. I guess we got to create an allied command that includes engineers and astronauts. Have I don't know if NASA would be interested, but that may take a while. It's sort of like an alumni thing. But from the 1960s, the Allied Command can be everything. We don't know what it's going to be yet because we just started. Basically, me, you, and Don. Right. I hope Don can hold the energy, but it's getting people to show up and be counted for and want to be in a group to talk, nostalgic, but also to be about